Hello to all of our listeners. Just a quick disclaimer. During the recording of this podcast this week, we were met with some heavy rain and it may have been picked up by the mics in the background. So if you find that there's any interference, we do apologise. It was out of our control. Hope you enjoyed this episode and thanks for listening.
And any other interference, there's not much we can do about that.
Yeah, call your IT department. It's not our problem. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the anygames.ie podcast. You're joined by me, Gav, and my co-host Dave. Dave, how's the last week been for you?
Yeah, good week. Hearing lots of positive feedback from people again about the podcast. People coming with questions and suggestions and asking us what we're going to be doing. And I'm trying to tell them that we have plans for engaging with grassroots level football, stuff like that, and putting the word out there. If you know anybody who wants to come on and talk to us on it, they're more than welcome.
Yeah.
How about yourself? Have you been getting on?
Yeah, the same. The feedback's been great. Anybody who's come up and spoken to me about it, lads that I work with, some of the girls that I work with that are into the football, and like that, I'm sure you're the same, come with suggestions and stuff. And as I said before, hopefully we grow into a community where we've kind of, inundated with suggestions every week and have that interaction as well, which we've spoken about in the last 2 episodes as well. So yeah, it's been positive. I think for us it's just going to be important to keep that continuity, just keep putting out the episodes, keep interacting with clubs, especially, and getting, like we did last week, when clubs have up and coming events or whatever, to put them out there and spread them to a wider community. I think that'll be important for us. And as you said, sort of going into these clubs and having those discussions with people is going to be important for us as well. So,
and us giving that platform to give these clubs and people involved with these clubs a voice and a place to highlight themselves. I suppose with that being said, I want to actually highlight something. It is Rathout Harps, which is my local club where I live. They had their awards ceremony this past week, and just a couple of things I wanted to highlight to it, because I was looking and a couple of things stuck out to me. A couple of awards that were handed out to people at the club. The first one is a Hall of Fame honoree for 2025, Imelda Gorman, just in recognition of the stuff she's done for the club and contributions to the club over 20 years, like 2 decades worth of contributions.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing that we really want to highlight here. People who give everything to a club and get recognised. It's good to see those kind of things. And then there was another one as well, is I'll just read it out. It's like, as a grassroots club, we're totally run and supported by volunteers and the work they do at the club. We're lucky enough to have some of the very best. Ben Teig is one of those. For over a decade, he's gone above and beyond for the club, from managing teams, cutting grass, painting walls and fixing leaks. I don't think there's anything he's not done. And more recently, he led our coach education programme and played a huge part in us receiving our FAI 1-star accreditation, something that less than 100 clubs across the country have achieved. So on Saturday night, Ben received the 2024-25 Volunteer of the Year award at the club, and I just think I love hearing things like that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and it's exactly what we touched on last week. Clubs up and down the country have characters like that, like Ben, like Imelda, who are staples of the club, who don't necessarily look for the recognition, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't ultimately get it. And
absolutely, they deserve it for that fact alone, that they don't even they just do it for the love of the club and
the love of the
community. Exactly.
It's brilliant.
And being from Rathout, I can testify to the club being a great club. My own daughter was involved with it there at one point. She played for one of their, I think it was their under 12s girls team. They were actually only setting it up at the time. It was their first season with that team, and I saw the work that went into trying to keep that team going, and the coaches, everybody involved, the amount of work they put in, and that they got the season finished. They fulfilled every game. There was never a point at which the girls involved for the club didn't want to get out there and play, and it's great. They're a great club.
Yeah, and just sticking with girls' involvement in football, like, there's been a massive surge globally. I think it's probably the fastest growing sport. Lady soccer is the fastest growing sport in America, I believe. And I think obviously with the WSL, it's obviously a big thing now, and it has been for the last couple of years. And obviously the women's English team haven't done so well internationally as well. A lot of female footballers becoming household names now, which seems to be kind of helping that growth. I've noticed a lot more around my local club as well. There's a lot more uptake by girls getting into football, and because I think I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I do know that the continuation of sport after the age of say 15, there's a massive drop off for girls over boys,
especially in things like football.
And sometimes it's down to the interest, but then also it's down to the infrastructure as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, long may it continue, long may the growth continue. It
is great to see.
It's brilliant, and it's brilliant for the clubs.
It's the strongest I can ever remember it, because it is the strongest it's ever been.
Yeah, and I've also noticed there's a lot more female coaches now as well.
Yeah,
not just of the girls' teams, but of boys. Teams as well, which is great to see.
Yeah,
and long may it continue.
Yeah, because it's brilliant. I suppose we're talking about the grassroots football.
Yeah,
and we've had a question. It came into my DMs through any games, and I suppose it does tie into grassroots football.
Yeah,
Tommy has asked a question about the FAI's attempts to align the whole country to summer football. So yeah, he has asked what we think of that. I suppose I'll fire that to you first.
Yeah, well, I would say from a schoolboy football point of view, there's been a massive kickback. So my club is involved in the DDSL, and it's essentially been rejected, and it's been rejected in most leagues across Ireland at grassroots level. There's a lot of factors. For me, the main issues are you've got summer holidays, so
kids are more
well. You've got families going away.
Yeah.
So
they're more likely to miss games, not for one reason or another.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to have your full team available to you throughout the summer. You're just not. And I know from particularly this year, I found that there wasn't really much of a summer break. So what I mean by that is, this last season had ended, and after about 2 or 3 weeks, you're already kind of looking to hold open training sessions, start getting ready for next year, start planning. First of all, you want to see if you have a team, because this is the thing I find, particularly football, maybe over the GAA, you don't know if you're going to have the same players coming down. I mean, at the back end of last season, some of my players were talking about going for trials for this team and that team, and you just didn't know where you were going to stand if you were still going to be coaching the following season.
Exactly.
And obviously, not just me, but I'd say like most coaches at schoolboy levels, you probably have a son or a daughter involved, and it's probably the primary reason that you're coaching. So from my point of view, if we weren't going to have a team, I would have to start bringing my son for trials or open training sessions to add other teams.
Yeah.
So pre-season can be difficult in that respect, and then you also, like I said before, you're organising pre-season friendlies, you're seeing who's sticking around. You've also got new lads coming down, and it takes you a couple of weeks to figure out, first of all, as I said, do you have a team?
Yeah.
Second of all, what does that team look like? And then once you kind of have some sort of a foundation, you're already looking at pre-season friendlies. Okay, what does this new team look like? Because you will have players leave, you will have new lads coming down. This year we moved from under 11s to under 12, so with that comes the change from 7-a-side to 9-a-side, bigger pitches, and the introduction of the offside rule for the first time.
Okay.
So there's a lot to cover in pre-season. So you're trying to get as many games in as possible, trying to get everyone used to the changes. So there is a lot involved.
For me, I had heard about it
Yeah.
when it was first kind of suggested.
Yeah.
The first thought that came to mind for me was, like you mentioned it, the GAA.
Yeah.
Probably not so much of a problem in Dublin, although probably is, but definitely in rural areas
Yeah.
where you have people playing GAA.
Yeah.
And they also play for the local football or soccer team.
Yeah.
And more often than not, they would prioritise the GAA over their soccer or football. And the big concern, as it turned out to be, because I did a little bit of digging on this, because I must admit I didn't know the full story.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of reading up today. As it turned out, one of the biggest objections was that it was going to clash with the GAA.
Yeah.
And that club's big concern was that they would lose players, wouldn't be able to field teams,
Yeah.
and also, and I never thought of it this way, would also lose income, like lose money,
Like revenue.
for keeping the club going.
Yeah.
Because with less players comes in less money, and then all of a sudden costs build up, and a club could go under. A small club in a rural community might not continue in those circumstances.
Yeah. The only sort of counter argument I'd have to that is at grassroots level. You've got, I know particularly in my club, we've Saturday teams and we've Sunday teams, and then we have a local GAA team as well. And a lot of the lads, if their GAA is Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, they'll play for a football team that offers them Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So they do alternatives. So even if that was during the summer, I don't think it would have much effect at grassroots level. I think maybe higher up, maybe some of the older age groups, that might affect them if they're coming into championship and stuff like that. It certainly would affect them. But I know I as I said, look after under 12, so it hasn't been an issue up until this point. Just to extend on my earlier point, the reason I said all that, and the amount of work that's involved during pre-season that people who aren't coaches might not be aware of. The point I was actually trying to make was, if you move to summer football, so your season's actually ongoing during the summer, your pre-season then is done over the winter instead.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to do all of that and organise pre-season friendlies and get teams organised and see who you've got in the depths of winter, I mean, it's difficult to get a league game. So I'm kind of contradicting myself in one way there, because one of the points for summer football would be less games being called off. Okay, so that's one of the main points. However, most teams, including my own, have the benefit of an astro pitch, an all-weather pitch. So that's not a concern for us. And we've got floodlights and everything else. Now, I know every single club doesn't have that, I know. But if you're in the middle of a season and then you're losing lads for 2-3 weeks to a summer holiday, you're not going to have the numbers. Like, let's say anything from under 11s down, you've probably only got a max squad of about 10 or 11 lads, because you're 7 aside, and you only really want 3 or 4 subs maybe, just to make sure everybody's getting fair enough game time. Under 11s and below, it's not competitive yet. Now, you still kind of have an idea where you are in the league,
but you're still trying to.
But points aren't tallied. But you're still trying to develop.
Still trying to instill something in a team and a group of lads who could, or girls who could be together for.
Yeah. And you're also trying to get
years.
consistency in that play.
Yeah.
Consistency as a team, and it's difficult to do that if you're losing lads during the summer.
I saw someone suggest that it was just the FAI looking at a cheaper way to not help clubs with facilities. So you have less games called off because the weather's good and stuff like that, instead of actually putting money in and helping clubs get things like astro pitches and
it's certainly a point. So just on that, I spoke to you before about this. Okay, so we're kind of coming off the topic of summer football just for a moment, but I just wanted to touch on the FAI investing in clubs, and we spoke about the GAA before as well. So if you take a club like Ballymun Kickums, for example, and you play Gaelic football, and you're playing for Kickums, you're playing for Ballymun.
Yeah.
If you play for Finbars, you're playing for Cabra. If you play for Erin's Oil, you're playing for Finglas. If you play for Ratoath, you play for Ratoath.
Yeah.
Okay, the point being is there's one GA club primarily in most towns, and when you're playing GA, you're playing for your parish. When it comes to football, soccer, you might have 10 clubs in the same town, and the issue with that is you've got one lad who's not getting a game, doesn't like the manager, doesn't like another lad in his team. He goes down the road and signs for a new club. And if you're the FAI and you're trying to invest in a team, or you're trying to invest in a club, let's say your club needs funding. Okay, right, but we haven't done anything over the north side yet. Okay, we look at Finglas, or we look at Ballymun, or we look at Cabra. Any of those towns. You're dividing that pot between 5, 6, 7 clubs in that area, and it means that everybody's only getting a small amount.
Yeah.
It's getting so diluted. Where if you're the GAA and you're going to St. Vincent's in the Clontarf area, you can give them 10 grand. It's not getting split between 10 clubs. Do you know what I mean? If you're going out to Malahide, you can give it till Sylvester's. That's another 10 grand for them. You're not giving it to 10 clubs out in Malahide.
Yeah. So I suppose.
Do you get me point? So there's a lot less clubs per town that the GAA has to divvy their money out. So my question would be, are towns not better off pulling their resources together, getting more clubs, combining their resources, becoming one, getting huge facilities, much better facilities, getting all the coaches together, getting all the players in, and everybody essentially playing for their parish? And it means the FAI can come in and go, there's 10 grand, there's an all-weather.
That's the ideal world. I have seen clubs merge where, and was there for the conversations around it, and concerns that happen within the supposed smaller club in the merger would be, well, am I going to get sidelined here? Am I going to be moved out? And here's this club that I've put loads into.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the big lad's going to come in, and their coaches are going to have a claim to the team I want to coach, or do I even have a coaching position anymore, or whatever it might be, you know? And that concern has been raised, and I've seen that firsthand.
Yeah.
So
is that a mentality around football in general over the GAA, or is that just, have we just gone too far now in general that something like that kind of ideology is just too far out of reach? I mean, there has to be merit to it, because I've seen 2 clubs merge successfully and be the better for it, and have better resources for it. But then there's 7 or 8 other clubs out there, and some of them are only 5, 6, 7 years old, and they probably branched out off the back of a falling out with somebody else, or I mean, some of these clubs are in very close proximity to each other, and you know, you just wonder. Like we spoke last week about the international team and how they're struggling, and my mindset when I discuss something like this is, does it make Ireland better at football? Does it make football in Ireland more competitive? And I would say, if you combined, like, let's say Ratoath, for example, if you had 4 or 5 teams in Ratoath, and you combined the 4 or 5 of those together, they combined all the resources, all the players. If you played soccer in Ratoath, you played for Ratoath, and that was it. Suddenly then, the cream always rises to the top.
Yeah.
So your first team is going to be incredible. It's the 15 best players in Ratoath. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
11 plus 4 subs. I'm not saying they're a GA team. And I just think then, if you're going out and you're supporting Ratoath, and Ratoath then become a viable option for the League of Ireland, let's say. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So I'm just saying, rather than just having a spin-off and setting up a new club. Now, I'm not trying to take away from any new clubs whatsoever. That's not my point here. I'm not trying to belittle any club. I'm not trying to say that clubs, that people shouldn't go out and start new football clubs. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying, should we shift the mentality slightly to make football more competitive in Ireland and combine resources so that facilities improve? And is that a viable option? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a bit idealistic.
No, it sounds great, and it sounds like something that would be ideal. But I think that's the perfect world, and
it's a football in utopia.
Yeah. Just something with this topic, and we kind of touched on it last week with the FAI and the League of Ireland, and that kind of divide between the two.
Yeah.
With this subject, it kind of highlights the FAI's disconnect with another branch of football in Ireland, in that they tried to pass this. This was a vote in the FAI, and it only marginally passed. I think it was like 70 something to 50 something was the margin, and then they just tried to implement from the top down and tried to say this is it. But major pushback from grassroots level.
Yeah.
And it just, I think, highlights another issue, like I said, of the FAI and their disconnect with other footballing organisations within the country.
Yeah. I mean, if they were a political party, they wouldn't get a single vote.
No.
In my opinion.
No.
I mean, that I said it to you last week. If they haven't got the international football, if the national team's not doing well, what has the FAI got? Because the League of Ireland is thriving without them.
Yeah. And
that's going to continue to improve. But ultimately, the FAI are the governing body for football in Ireland.
They are.
And they are also responsible for its infrastructure and for its development. And I don't think anybody involved at schoolboy level feels that.
I just wonder, did they even go out and do their research to see what the interest in this would be, or what? Because like that, they got massive pushback, and in the end, the solution has been, oh, you can opt out. So they haven't binned it, but telling a majority, oh, you can opt out, basically puts that on ice. That's not going to happen now.
No. I would just love the FAI to come out and say, this is our plan. This is how we're going to improve football in Ireland. I've seen them on Off the Ball, and they've had one or two representatives, and they talk a good game and they have this game plan in place. But I would actually love for them to, they should be doing what we're doing, which is, or what we're trying to do, is to get out and get involved and talk to people. I was going to say on the ground level, but I don't want to start sounding like a politician. But actually getting in the clubs and speaking with clubs and the people behind them and asking them what the club needs or what their thoughts are, because they're the ones on the training pitch.
Yeah, they're the ones putting in the work with kids every week, every day, trying to get football instilled in them.
I mean, I know from my club we've had top level coaches come in and teach the coaches. They've done sort of like an exhibition or a tutorial, and the problem with that is you kind of get someone's personal view on how training should be. So some coaches can be very elaborate, and they can tell you how under 9 should be playing out from the back, or they tell you how under 11 should all be playing with inverted wingers, and
that's just an
all this sort of stuff, But then others will tell you, just spend the whole hour with them with the ball at their feet, and they'll just get it. Do you know what I mean?
And the truth is, somewhere in the middle is
somewhere
in all of that is the truth.
It's perfect, and even as a coach, how I was taught to play football is completely different to how it's taught now. It is a lot more structured, but you don't feel like there's a governing body or that there's a handbook from the governing body in this country to say, this is how we believe coaching should be done, and this is the standards you should be meeting as a coach and as a club. You know, actually getting out and saying, look, what do you want from us as a governing body?
Yeah, they're never going to do that though.
But they're not. You know, they're just...
Because this, as I said, they put a vote. They said, yes, this is what's going to happen, and they just tried to implement without any consultation, so it seems, with people involved, with the kind of, like as I said, the grassroots level.
There's a great documentary if you ever get a chance to see it. It's called Green is the Colour. Dara Maloney presented it, and it's the talk of the history of Irish football, and it shows some great footage of Dalymount and Tolka, and you know, all just packed out, like people like climbing over walls and sitting on sheds and anything to get to these games. And then somewhere along the line, obviously work dried up in Ireland. A lot of people were going over to England to get work. People stopped going to the games, they weren't as busy anymore, and people started obviously following English football then while they were working over there. And when they came back, Irish football hadn't developed at all. It hadn't improved, and some of that was down to owners of clubs and stuff pocketing money and not putting it back into the club. And you know, these people were coming back from London and coming back from Manchester and Liverpool, where everything was just, you know, the rise of football was huge. I'm talking 70s and 80s, and then it was like Ireland couldn't come back then, and I don't think the FAI have done enough. And the amount of money that's out there in football now, the FAI should be going around the world looking for investment.
Yeah,
I know when we look at Premier League clubs and the likes of Newcastle and stuff with Saudi owners, or the likes of Chelsea when they had Abramovich there and stuff, you're questioning clubs' morality and all that sort of stuff. But honestly, would you just love to see 4 or 5 sheikhs come in, buy a club each, and just throw a lot and just bring the whole of the League of Ireland, you know, 20 years into the future, because
get one big shot in the arm.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm a Bows fan and I love the fact that Bows are fan owned, and that's brilliant. But you know, it's very difficult with that. Like you look at Bayern Munich, they're fan owned, majority fan owned, but they're in the 24th century. Yeah, you know, they got a state-of-the-art stadium, they got a top football team, they can go out and spend billions on players.
The Bundesliga is,
and they're in the Champions League every year.
Bundesliga is kind of an example on how to treat the fans.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And you look at like their season ticket prices probably aren't far off Bows either. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they're able to do that, which is amazing. So you would think if the people behind the FAI really wanted to do a good job, really are passionate about football, which you'd hope they are, just say to the fans, look, we've come up with this plan, this is what we're going to do, we're not going to stop until we get this investment. Here, like, go to these people and go, get involved in Irish football, you know, put it back on the map and try get that investment in, but also let the fans know what's going on, what your plans are, because it doesn't seem like they have any at all.
I don't think so, and I think, as you say, the only way it will happen is massive outside investment in clubs. Yeah. As you said, to push it forward, and I don't think that'll happen either.
No.
You know, because I think the FAI would actually probably try and block that as well.
So we'll stop with the FAI bashing for a moment.
We will. I suppose just to finish on that then, I think for me, I would rather keep it as it is and not have the summer football.
Yeah, I would agree. From a coaching perspective, I don't think it works for many reasons, and I don't think the way it was presented was very effective to begin with. It kind of reminded me of the Nice Treaty versus Lisbon Treaty, where nobody kind of understood, so we kind of go, look, we're not putting this through because, you know, we haven't presented it well, so they dressed it up, called it something else, and forced it down our neck again. So maybe the FAI will come back with something different and try it again down the line. But we'll wait and see. But for me, Dave, it's a big no.
Grant.
So moving on then to the Premier League last weekend, Dave. You're a happy bunny, I'd say, this weekend. Not the last weekend, I should say.
Yeah, very happy with what I saw from the Arsenal game. They looked really well. Defensively, very solid. I was looking at Forest. It's hard to judge them. It's hard to judge them on that game.
It was a nothing game for them, really. I mean, Ange was only in the door, only had a couple of days, so...
Yeah, we kind of said it in the last episode.
We did, yeah.
That
That's exactly what you said. I had asked the question, do you think there might have been a bit of a reaction with the new manager and stuff, but I think it was a big ask, as we said, and only in the door, so...
Only in the door, and I said in that last episode, I wonder what way they will line up, and it kind of looked like Ange just put them out and said, look, play how you've been playing. It looked like that to me, because they didn't particularly line up like Ange would line his teams up.
No.
Typically.
No. They just...
They set in a little bit, tried to catch us on a counter-attack.
Yeah, they didn't really offer much at all.
They didn't really offer much.
No. But, I mean, you can only beat the team that's in front of you, and that's the Mendy goal.
Oh, cracking.
What a screamer.
The only thing,
technique.
It takes a deflection, and it's like,
I know, but still.
No, I know.
Still, the technique, watching the ball coming down like that. I mean,
I
thought in general, I know we got 2 goals, but he actually controlled that game really well.
He did. It was a very positive performance from him. Gyökeres scoring again as well.
Yeah.
That's 3 and 4 for him.
And look, there was obviously a lot of talk, and he's a bit unorthodox in his movement. Doesn't look fluid in what he does, but I mean, who cares what he looks like if he's putting the ball in the back of the net? That's what he was brought in for. So that's 3 goals in 4 games for him now.
4, yeah.
I mean, that's if you get that return for him all season.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Great stead.
I'll take that. Eze to Gyökeres. Eze with the assist. Gyökeres to finish. That was...
Yeah, Eze hasn't even probably hit his top form with Arsenal. I know it's only been a game and a half.
He's not playing in his strongest position either.
Can I just make the point? Odegaard went off injured, and no Saka, and nobody's talking about waiting Saka comes back. Oh, Odegaard just needs to be fit.
Yeah,
you actually look really strong without him. I mean,
there's
Noni Madueke.
He's been great.
Unbelievable.
There's been no talk of injury crisis. You know, and if you look at Arsenal's injury list, let me think. Yeah, Kai Havertz, William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard now, and Ben White. If you take those players out of the team at this point last season, it's full on panic stations.
Yeah. Am I right in saying Declan Rice didn't start that game?
That's right, yeah. You
weren't missing him either?
No.
So, I mean, okay, like we said, it's Forest, new manager only in the door, but all those players came in, did a job. Maschiera at the back, solid again. Saliba, not missed.
No.
So we won't get too carried away, but all signs are good for Arsenal.
Yeah, all looks good.
Especially in terms of squad depth, as we said, which is great for them.
Yep.
Not so much for everybody else. And then I called the next result we're going to look at.
You did.
Bournemouth versus Brighton. It was always going to be close.
Yep.
But in that one, you had Alex Scott, not the former Arsenal female captain. She was captain, was she?
She was, I think.
I think she was captain. And Semenyo does it again.
He was a player I wouldn't have minded Arsenal making a move for.
Yeah, really solid player. And he could have had a couple of goals in that, even outside the panel. And Matoma, doing what Matoma does.
Yeah.
Scoring again.
Just very consistent.
Yeah, he's just a good pro, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, good win there for Bournemouth. And then on to Crystal Palace Sunderland. I mean, I don't really have much to say.
I didn't watch it.
I seen the highlights, but there wasn't really much going on.
No.
Everton Villa, you could probably say the same thing now.
I did watch that one because I thought that was one of the games to tune into for the weekend.
I thought Jack Grealish was going to score on that one.
Yeah.
Back at Everton. Villa, and I mean, he played he was probably Everton's best player for a lot of that game as well.
It was a hard watch.
Actually, one point I would say about that game is Martinez played in goal.
He did actually, yeah.
and he had a really strong game.
Yeah. Well, he's a
He
great goalkeeper.
He is. He's an absolute shitstormer.
Yeah.
He's mad as a brush.
He's crazy.
But he's a great shot stopper.
Yeah.
And he does command his box, which is why United were looking at him. It was just, I think, his age kind of, United seemed to be moving away from that sort of age profile, which is why they went for Le Mans in the end. But he did a lot of pointing at us, Aston Villa crest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as if to say, I was always staying. But
That's liar.
Fabrizio Romano was telling me you couldn't wait to come to United.
Yeah.
So who do you believe?
He is just a lunatic, though.
Yeah, he is. He's a master of shithousery, as they say.
Just on that game as well, Villa's troubles in front of goal again.
Wow, that has to be there.
How long does that go before Unai Emery gets?
I don't think it's Emery's fault.
I
think his hands are tied.
It's probably not Emery's fault, but at some point the manager pays a price for.
That's true.
The performances of his.
That's true.
His team.
But has he not turned that club around?
Yes.
In a lot of ways, like, I mean, you look to a close to beating PSG in the Champions League last year, who ultimately went on to win.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Marcus Rashford and Asensio at the back end of last season on loan, and Aston Villa with PSR and everything else. Now, they probably wouldn't have went for Rashford anyway with the wages the way they were, but they've lost a couple of exciting players there as well.
Yeah,
and they haven't brought anyone in really. I mean, they brought a couple in on deadline day, but I mean,
compared to what went
Victor Lindelof isn't that exciting, is he?
No, he's not.
He's not going to get you a goal.
I think for Villa, this weekend's a big game.
Yeah,
like they're away to Sunderland, but if they don't score again, and it's a newly promoted team, albeit who are playing very well and have done well since coming up, if Villa fail to win that game and don't score again, you'd be getting worried if you're a Villa fan.
Yeah. On to the Newcastle Wolves game. Nick Voltemed, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Debut goal. Took
it well. He looks like a very cool, calm and collected individual. I have to say, he took the goal well. I mean, he's big.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a good signing for them.
Yeah,
time will tell, and it's against Wolves, but I mean, you can't ask any more than scoring on your debut.
Very true. On to West Ham and Spurs, and one of your shouts for Quiet Player of the Week, which is a new segment that we're going to bring in.
It is. It has actually been suggested to us by one of our listeners, Mock1IE. He asked us about Quiet Player of the Week, basically a player who's gone under the radar. I had, is it Lucas Bergval? I can't pronounce that surname.
It's pronounced Bergval.
Lucas Bergval.
Yeah,
I kind of had him.
Big head of blondie hair.
Like they kind of go under the radar a little bit for having a good contribution, like goal and an assist in that game.
Yeah, he seems to be a decent signing, and Sarr as well took his goal well.
Yeah, and West Ham just back into trouble again.
Yeah, would you say Potter's next to go?
Probably.
He'd have to be, wouldn't he? I think he's my tip to be gone next. I think based on current.
Call back to my prediction: West Ham to go down this season.
Yeah, I think I had them to go down as well. Did I?
No, you said they might have enough quality in players like Jared Bowen and stuff like
that
to stay up.
I lied. I want to take that back.
We'll see.
Could I get a veto on that one?
We'll see. Like if they bring in somebody to steady the ship there a little bit. Not that I don't like Graham Potter.
Yeah,
I do as a coach, but sometimes things start to go wrong at a club, and it doesn't matter how good the coach is. It's just not gonna come back on track. And I think. Are you
talking about West Ham or Man United?
Well,
because it sounds like you could be talking about either of them.
We'll get to United.
Oh, please don't. We'll move on to Brentford and Chelsea, which finished 2-2, and Cole Palmer back on the pitch.
Yeah, forgot to take him out of my fantasy team this week. I thought he was injured, but he was in there. And he got a goal.
Bob, speaking of fantasy, actually, before we move on, can I just say, people who had Mo Salah as captain, you disgust me. You absolutely disgust me. 95th minute penalty, having done nothing all game. There's me with Yao Pedro, who actually contributed to Chelsea's win. Didn't score, but got an assist and was a key player in that game. Mo Salah was in a sleeping bag on the sideline for 95 minutes. Got woken up to say there was a penalty to be taken.
And then buried the penalty, to
and
be
then
fair.
Smashed it. Absolutely disgusting
It's like
behaviour.
he took out 3 weeks of frustration.
Disgusting behaviour. Oh my God. There was one stage he went to put a cross in and he just toe poked it out.
Yeah.
It was awful.
We might come back to that when we get to Liverpool.
You brought up fantasy football. It's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually more disgusted at that. People having Salah as captain.
Yeah.
Than Man United being beaten 3-0 by Man City. But we won't get to that just yet because there's a rant incoming, I feel. So, yeah, Cole Palmer back on the pitch.
Yeah. I think, did we both predict Chelsea win in this one? I think we did.
We did. And in fairness,
I
Brentford aren't as doom and gloom as I expected them to be.
I think I had said they'll make it a little bit difficult for Chelsea, but Chelsea will ultimately win. But I mean,
yeah, I think they were fair enough to get the draw. I would have said, but yeah, some decent moments from Chelsea as well. I think Chelsea have some exciting players, and Cole Palmer just very calm and collected in front of goal. He's just a top player. He's a top player. I've seen Pep came out and said, now I take everything that I see on socials with a pinch of salt, because I don't know if this quote is true, but he had said something to the effect that he regrets selling Palmer, that he just wasn't mature enough as a player, but that he's developed into the player that he had hoped. Now, that could be a Chelsea fan somewhere in the background.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's an official quote. But
don't know whether we can verify that quote.
Yeah, but it's probably true.
It could be true. It seems like something he would say.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2-2 for Brentford. I mean, that's a good result, isn't it?
Desmond.
You did predict one.
I did. I think
this week.
I think you had called it Desmond on the Bournemouth-Brighton game. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But I said Bournemouth wouldn't nudge it just with the home advantage, which they did.
Then the next one.
The next one is Burnley and Liverpool.
I watched this game.
So frustrating from anybody who's not a Liverpool fan. It's so frustrating.
I mean,
they keep doing it.
They just keep doing it, and
every game this season, they've gone on from the 83rd minute onwards. Is the latest they've scored the winner. 83rd minute was the Szoboszlai free kick.
Yeah.
Their goals against Newcastle came in the
95th minute, something like that.
And then
I don't know, I could be wrong.
What was their opening game? Was that Burnley?
That was Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. They were 2-2 at one stage, and then they got the last two goals in like the 88th minute, and then 90 plus.
Yeah.
So they've come from potentially drawing positions to winning positions from the 83rd minute onwards in the last 4 games.
Can that continue?
I don't know. I mean, they don't. Look, they're controlling games, and you can't say that they didn't control the game against Burnley yesterday.
They did control it, but they never looked like making the breakthrough.
No.
And it was a moment of stupidity from a defender. By the way, Jamie Carragher, he's a fucking till.
Yeah, he is a till. We can say it on this podcast, but he shouldn't be saying anything of the sort.
Calling the defender, what did he say about him?
Brain dead. Yeah.
I mean,
I thought, regardless of how we phrased it, I thought it was very harsh because it's happening live, 2 or 3 yards away from him. He turns his back and your arms just naturally move. He wasn't purposely sticking his arm out.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was trying to Gaelic block it.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
It was.
He wasn't actually trying to get a 2-handed block in. Like he was turning around and his arm naturally moved in that motion. It was quick.
It's a penalty all day.
But
it's just
to go like
it's terribly bad luck.
It's really unlucky. And what I took from it as well is Arne Slot said that they had them pinned in for the full 90 minutes in their 18 yard. He said the whole game was played in Burnley's 18 yard box.
Yeah.
that just wasn't true at all. Certainly, towards the end, they were dominating, but I think that came after a couple of changes as well. Probably just the fresh legs and stuff, but
No, like I said,
they certainly dominated the game. But I don't think
they never looked like
Burnley.
they never looked like making that breakthrough though. As
No.
I said, and I thought it was done and dusted until the penalty. To be honest, I thought it was going to be a 0-0.
But look, from a United fans standpoint, we did that a lot. I mean, we invented fairly time.
Like no, it's
Do you know
not.
what I mean?
I'm not criticising it because it is like that. The sign of a team who will play.
Yeah, and we
To
did
the end.
say it last week. It's this, or the week before maybe. It's a scary proposition that they haven't hit form yet. I mean, Mo Salah hasn't hit form yet, but he's still got 3 or 4 goals already. You know, so you'd worry now if they're still grinding out wins, if they're still getting maximum points every game and still haven't hit form. That when they do
hit form,
eventually hit form.
Yeah, when Isak starts getting on the pitch.
Well, that's the other thing as well. Isak still has to come in.
Gav, I think we'll move on to the Manchester derby.
Oh, okay, Dave. If you say so.
Right,
can I just say something?
Yeah.
So last week, I had said with Cunha being out, it was a good. What's the word I'm looking for?
Good opportunity. It was
Sorry,
basically you were saying
yeah,
it was a good
that's-
opportunity to see the front three of Mbeumo, Sesko, and
In Bilmo.
Mbeumo. And you
So
were
it
kinda
was a
hoping
good
for-
opportunity. It was a good opportunity to play Bruno in his proper position. Move him into that number 10 role. That's the type of player he is.
Yeah.
I said before, if you don't play players to their strengths, you end up displaying their weaknesses. He hasn't been playing Bruno to his strengths. He had the opportunity to do so against City, chose not to take it. He kept him in midfield, and ultimately he was at fault for that first goal because he didn't track Phil Foden. It's
Yeah.
nothing to do with his work rate. It's nothing to do with him not tracking the man. He got back, he got in position, but he hasn't got the defensive awareness to know where the danger is in that position, because that's not his game. The very same thing happened against Fulham. Emile Smith-Rowe ran in.
Yeah.
Bruno didn't track
Didn't
the
track
run.
him back. Yeah.
It's not his game. Luke Shaw had a very poor game, struggled with Haaland. I don't know why he was there. Mazraoui is a brilliant player, one of United's best players last season. Doesn't do a job on the right wing. He should have been in there as part of that back three. If I remember him, and I'm like, if I don't have Cunha on that pitch to give me that spark, that special moment, I'm either pushing Bruno up there and sticking Mainu and Casemiro in that midfield, or I'm changing the system. I'm going to go like for like against Man City. I'm going to go 4-3-3, and I'm going to have Bruno, Casemiro and Mainu in there, and then you can make a front three then of Diallo and Bumo and Sesko, and everybody's playing to their strengths then. Casemiro can just sit back there,
Even if you don't get the 90 minutes out of him.
even if you don't get the 90
You
minutes
know.
out of him, but he has the cover of Bruno and Mainu now.
Yep.
They're not having to cover as much ground in that central part. So we can talk about systems and we can talk about all of that, which we have done, but the most concerning thing for me was the lack of fight and grit and determination from all of those United players.
I was going to say this.
None of them looked like they were up for that game
s-
whatsoever.
I said to you in our first episode about United relying, or going to have to rely on individuals
Yeah,
for a lot of results this season.
Yeah.
That, as you say, that's a very concerning thing to look at.
Yeah.
When there just looked to be no desire to get stuck in there for a Manchester derby.
Yeah.
You know.
and that's why I said that to you as well the other week, where I said the individuals have gotten better in terms of their ability, but we haven't got any better as a team.
Do you think there's a bit of like, they're looking at how they're setting up, and they're looking at, he's after putting Bruno in that position again, and it's like almost like they feel like they've been set up for failure going into a game.
If you're Bruno and you're the captain, right, and everybody gives out about him that he throws his arms around, I didn't even see any of that from him.
No, nothing. Actually,
I
sorry.
want to see him go in and leave something on Bernardo Silva, leave something on Phil Foden, put a tackle in, just get stuck in. Like I'm not trying to sound like Roy Keane,
No.
but it's the Manchester derby. Just
show something.
Just from the very first whistle, throw a shot. Like you seen, Haaland was up for it. Like he's always up for it. You have to match that intensity.
Yeah. I know what you mean, because I've seen over the years with Arsenal when we were a little bit softer.
Yeah.
In the latter years of, say, Arsene Wenger.
Yeah.
And there was just that lack of fight in things like the North London Derby or games against Man United, and they just got bullied.
It's like they've become so focused on one element of the game, the system, that they forget about the occasion, the importance, the fans, the build-up. I mean, for anybody who's getting carried away now with City thinking that they're back, or, you know, here we go again at the title contenders, calm down, because that was more about Man United being really, really poor and having no fire in their belly than it was about Man City being good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sky Sports will have you believe that it was the return of Man City,
because they're trying to.
That's their narrative, and that's what
they're
want.
trying to sell you a subscription for the season, but ultimately, United didn't show up. None of the players looked interested, and again, Brian and Mbeumo. Can I just say what a save that was by Donnarumma from Mbeumo's volley?
Yeah, great volley.
Oh, the technique was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like it was on par with Zubimendi's. I think if that goes in, it's contender for goal of the week up there with Zubimendi's. But yeah, I just don't. That was more about Man United being poor than it was about City being great.
Yeah.
Like I said to you can only beat what's in front of you, and that's what Man City did.
That's what Man City did.
Phil Foden had a point to prove coming back into that team as well, which he did. Thought he played really well. But again, given another couple of games, if City are still playing like this over the next couple of games, maybe they're back in the conversation.
If they go to the Emirates this weekend and win 2-0, then we can probably have that conversation.
100% you're having that conversation. 100% you're having that conversation. But I would say, just for the time being, don't get too carried away based off that United result, because most teams are going to be getting that result against Man United most weeks if they continue the way they are at the moment. So looking ahead then to match week 5, opening on Saturday with the early kick-off at 12:30, we've got the Liverpool derby. How do you see that one going, Dave?
If you had have said that to me last week, I'd have said easy win for Liverpool. Or well, maybe not easy, but definitely a Liverpool win. They're at Anfield, so I still think they might well win that. But Everton will set up well there, and I'd like to see how Liverpool get on, because having watched them struggle to get past Burnley, I'm just curious to see what happens.
Yeah, it's a tough one to call, because
I think they'll win.
Yeah,
I do think they'll win.
But Liverpool were less than convincing against Burnley.
Yeah,
I think they probably will have plenty of chances, probably more so than they did against Burnley, because Burnley didn't intentionally set up defensively, but they were definitely hanging on there at the end.
Yeah.
So I think Everton will naturally just play a bit more openly, leaving a bit more space maybe.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Liverpool is how long are they going to play Szoboszlai at right back?
That's an interesting one already.
I think that's a waste.
Yeah.
I mean, he's certainly doing a job.
But do they have anything else to go in there?
Conor Bradley?
Yeah.
He didn't do too badly when he came on. He delivers a good ball as well. I just think Szoboszlai is a lot more effective further
up the field.
McAllister got a bit of a knock in the Burnley game, so it'd be interesting to see if he's going to be fit for that. I know he got up and he played on and stuff, but whether he has a bit of a carryover.
We're inevitably going to see an Alexander Isak debut as well, aren't we? Probably from off the bench, I think.
Well, I had called it last week that he wouldn't
He did.
feature at all in that squad. It's just going to be whether or not he's going to be fit, but I do think they'll hold off on the home game just to unveil him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you spend that amount of money, you're going to give him a nice warm home welcome, aren't you?
And the Merseyside derby, there's no kind of better game to do it, is there?
No, there's not. It'll certainly kick off the weekend well, I think, with the Merseyside derby is always a good one. Moving on to Brighton Spurs, another interesting one.
It is another interesting one. I can see Brighton causing Spurs trouble there at home.
Yeah, we won't do score predictions this week. I'll just say Spurs win.
Draw.
Burnley Forest.
Do you know? I'll say Forest will win.
I'm actually going to go Burnley.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going to go Burnley. And
I think, sorry, just not to go too much in depth on it, but I just think this is the game for the players to kind of bed in on their Ange. And
after a week though,
yeah,
new system. I mean, they're going from sitting in deep and being a counter-attacking team to an all-action, high-pressing, high-line carnage.
I'll still give it to them. I think.
And do you think that's an interesting one as well? Because do you think Ange is going to continue with his philosophy on football and try to implement that, or do you think he is going to be more adaptable, considering how badly it went for Spurs in the league last season?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And another point, sorry, just to bring up before you answer that one, is the way Ange plays and trains, and that high intensity, a lot of injuries.
Can Forest afford that?
Can Forest afford that? I mean, Tottenham at the time didn't really have a lot of squad depth, maybe the way they do now. So you would wonder, could that start affecting Forest?
Possibly.
I mean, when you go deep into the winter, and because they've got European football.
Yeah, they've got European football.
So if they're playing twice a week and they're playing that style of football,
yeah,
it's going to be very difficult to maintain without picking up injuries.
Yeah, I do agree. I think Ange is not going to change his philosophy though. I just think it doesn't strike me as who he is.
I can see Forest going back into the market in January because they've 3 or 4 different injuries.
Yeah.
Definitely. West Ham Palace London derby.
Draw.
I'm going to go Palace.
Yeah.
Palace are going to have too much for West Ham. West Ham is so poor. I think I can see Mateta scoring there easily enough. Yeah, I'm just going to give that one. We won't do score predictions, but again, I'm going to go with a Palace win on that one. And Wolves Leeds, I'm just going to go Leeds win because Wolves
they're poor.
Really poor.
Yeah, Leeds
really
I think
poor.
will win that.
Yeah. Now Manchester United and Chelsea, I feel like, although it's all at Old Trafford, it's a difficult one to call. Chelsea have their frailties, and they can be gotten at. You see, Brentford stuck 2 past them, so they are gettable. But United have just been. I'm just losing all hope now at this point. I'm just not confident going into any game.
Yeah, I don't even know how to speak about this game going into it because I don't know what United are going to turn up and look like.
But United haven't turned up yet this season.
No,
we turned up. We joked about it about the United Arsenal game that United showed up for the first 20 minutes and they haven't showed up yet.
Yeah.
Since. I mean, go through all the results. Fulham, poor. Grimsby, poor. Man City, poor. Burnley, even though we won 3-2, poor. I just haven't seen enough from United consistently, and I know it goes against my prediction for the Man City game, but I genuinely thought that Ruben Amorim would set up better against City, and that City were there for the taking going into that game. They were coming off the back of 2 defeats. They hadn't got any momentum. They hadn't got any cohesion, or certainly hadn't got that build-up play going. But they were just up for it.
Yeah.
And that could be the kickstart. But as I said, don't get carried away, Man City fans, because it's going to take a couple of games. If they can continue like that for a couple of games, City are back. But until then, I'm not convinced.
I'm going to say Chelsea are going to beat us.
I'm going to say draw. That's being hopeful.
I just look at it, and Chelsea will have ambitions this season of being in the chase.
Yeah. Bradley Walsh is going to love that. I just wanted to say that. Another London derby. Fulham and Brentford. That's a Desmond.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Yeah, Bishop 2-2.
Moving on then to Sunday. We've got Bournemouth and Newcastle, and we've got Sunderland Aston Villa. I actually think the Bournemouth Newcastle will be a good game.
Yeah,
really good game.
I think that's worth watching.
I think Sunderland will get a result of it against Villa.
Yeah,
it's at the Stadium of Light as well.
I think Villa will fail to score again.
What do you do if you Unai Emery at this moment? What can he change? I mean, at one point he had the luxury of 2 informed strikers
Yeah.
last season, and he ultimately, one got sold off because of PSR.
The other one now just doesn't.
The other one's no longer in form.
I think he just.
And I think
I think he's just stripped of confidence. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. Stripped of service as well.
Yeah.
Some of their more exciting attacking players have since left the club.
I kind of feel sorry for Unai Emery, because you asked me what can he do to change it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got very many options.
No, it's a difficult one. I don't think it's anything to do with the setup. I just think it's players not being in form in the right positions. I mean, to be competitive in the Premier League, you need your players to be in form in all positions, but when it doesn't happen in front of goal, the team really suffers.
And it's going to look very bad for them if they fail to get a result again this weekend.
Yeah.
A team who just missed Champions League football by the skin of their teeth last season.
And sorry, we were just speaking briefly there about PSR. David Ornstein has actually just tweeted in the last few minutes. I'll just read out what he said. It's just in relation to the teams competing in Europe from the Premier League this season. So there'll be 9 Premier League clubs playing in Europe this season, meaning 9 Premier League clubs must comply with UEFA's spending regulations. Breaching these regulations can lead to significant fines, and if they can continue over a sustained period, even a year's ban from European competition. It is impossible to state each club's position for certain, but using all available information, the bookkeeper at C. Wetherspoon estimates how each matches up to UEFA's 2 tests, which clubs are projected to breach the guidelines, and what it all means. So they've essentially got a chart of the 9 clubs, so Arsenal, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, Forest and Tottenham. And they've got 2 columns then of football earnings and squad cost. So here they've used the traffic light system. All looks fine for Arsenal, but Aston Villa are actually in the red for squad cost. If you move down then to Newcastle are in the red for football earnings, as are Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest are also in the red for squad costs. So there's a bit of bookkeeping there to do for some of those clubs. So Aston Villa, Forest and Newcastle all treading the line there in terms of UEFA's regulations. So you'd wonder, going back to my original point, Unai Emery's issues, it doesn't look like they could be resolved in January, let's say, if they're still struggling for goals.
No.
If Ollie Watkins doesn't find form, they may maybe need another striker to come in. It doesn't look like they're going to be in a position to spend if they want to conform to the rules and regulations that UEFA have set out there.
Puts them in a very tough position.
And I think that's been Aston Villa's issue for a while now, and I'm not sure how they've gotten to that point, because they've loaned a lot of players both in and out, and they've made some sales this year as well, this summer, and they still seem to be off the mark. You know, it's not as if they've gone out and spent loads or made a high profile signing or signed somebody on massive wages. So you would wonder what it is that they're doing wrong, and I think part of it might be that they don't generate the revenue that some of the bigger clubs involved in European football would generate, like the likes of an Arsenal, Liverpool, City.
Yeah.
They're historically huge clubs. Well, not so much City, but City have sort of sold themselves well.
Yeah,
globally.
You know, they've used their massive purse to push themselves to a position of power in the game.
But also, I mean, world tours and winning trophies, you know, and winning Champions Leagues, that's going to get you some it's going to increase your global fan base. Yeah. And with that, you naturally get revenue, whether it's from jersey sales, whether it's from people buying memberships globally, that sort of stuff. So
I think that's where clubs like Villa, who are kind of staples in the league, the Premier League, for a
The
long
original
time.
Original founders of
Exactly, but
Football League.
I think that's where the game is kind of leaving clubs like that behind a bit. You now have to be a global brand to compete.
Okay, so moving into the final fixture of the weekend, and it is a big one. Super Sunday indeed. Arsenal versus Man City. Now, before I ask your opinion on this, Dave, you already know mine with regards to Man City.
Yeah,
I don't think they're back. I think United were just shocking. But in saying that, it will have boosted morale in the City camp, and it'll be interesting to see if they can kick on from that. But they're coming up against Arsenal, who are in terrific form.
yeah, we're in very good form. I'm interested to see how Arteta approaches the game. Does he twist, basically, or does he adapt based on criticisms of how he's going into these big games?
That's a very fair point, because I did criticise him heavily for how he approached the Liverpool game,
Yeah,
and he has previous. So it's a very interesting point, because if he goes in there and he doesn't start the likes of an Eze, and he goes with a defensive setup. I mean, if he goes in with the same setup he had last weekend, it shows intent, I think.
well, he put Moreno in the 10 against Liverpool. I know why. It was to control the game from
Yeah.
midfield, and I understood the selection, but it wouldn't have been what I wanted to see. I think we said it on maybe the last episode that I would have liked to see Waneri in there,
Yeah.
and he came on for Odegaard on Saturday. Odegaard gone down again, and I think he's going to be out for a spell, which is interesting. Actually, as of recording this, Arsenal have played in the Champions League
Yeah.
this evening. Gabriel Martinelli came on and scored, and Leandro Trossard came on with an assist to Martinelli, and then Martinelli with an assist to Trossard. So
Neither of them are starting.
no, I don't think so. But I
That's-
could make a case for Martinelli and putting Eze in the 10. I do like the idea of Martinelli as a impact sub. You could have Eze on that left wing, which I don't think is his best position, to be honest with you, and I don't think we've seen the best of Eze there for Arsenal. But if you have someone on that wing playing 60, 70 minutes,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're bringing Gabriel Martinelli with that pace on to run at a defence who's already been run around a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously, we've been recording this podcast while that match has been ongoing. But who did Martinelli come on for?
Eze.
He came on for Eze.
Yeah.
Is there an argument to be made for Martinelli to be coming on for Moreno and moving Eze into the 10?
That's what I would have
Is
liked
that
to
where
have
you-
seen. That's the sub I would have liked to have seen happen. It wasn't. It was a direct
Like for like.
like for like. But I suppose to go back to the game on the weekend, and to go back to what you said about City not being back,
Yeah.
kind of agree, but I am a little bit concerned for Sunday.
With Saka being out and Odegaard being out, what's your starting 11 there? Just even just across the midfield.
Yeah, because the back four is going
very
to
settled,
it's going to be Calafiori, it's going to be Gabriel, it's going to be Mosquera, and it's going to be Timber.
Yeah. Timber's been brilliant, by the way.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
And
he's
and
a terrific
Mosquera.
player. Mascara, yeah, absolutely. But I just like Timber because he's one of those. He's very attacking
Yeah.
for a fullback, but he also knows his job is to defend first and foremost, and he does that well.
He's a very, very good football player.
Yeah, he
I
really
really
is.
like him. I suppose back to the midfield.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
For me, I want to see Rice, Zubimendi, and Waneri.
Sounds like a lovely toy dish.
It does.
Can I get the Zubimendi rice with some Waneri on the side, please? Side order of Waneri.
You can just make that Waneri a little bit spicy, please.
Extra chilies.
And then of course it's gonna be Eze left, Nani on the right, and Gyökeres through the middle, isn't it? That team nearly picks itself. The only question mark is the number 10. But I suppose back to Sunday, I think I think we'll win, but I couldn't say with any degree of confidence that that's gonna definitely happen. I think we will win it though.
You would say, based on form, that Arsenal should win that game, but I have concerns about Arteta's mentality going into these games.
Yeah.
And I just think it would be a shame, based on all the plaudits that are coming Arsenal's way at the moment, based on all the feel-good factors like Madueke hitting the ground running, Eze hitting some form, getting assists, Gyökeres 3 goals in 4 games. Why not just go for it? I'd like to see Arsenal beat City. Just for some sort of for some sort of payback after last week.
Yeah.
But also just to validate my point that City are not back.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Arsenal win because I'm biased.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Arsenal win. Just because that's what I want to see to happen. So that wraps up the upcoming weekend and myself and Dave's thoughts on it. And we are nearing the end of the podcast, so we will finish up by saying, get involved.
Yep.
Become part of our community. It's free of charge. We just want to hear from you.
Yep.
We just want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear about your clubs. We want to hear about the people behind your clubs and their stories. And we want to know what you think about the podcast so far, what you'd like us to talk about.
But if you want us to lean more, if you have any subjects for us that you want us to cover in terms of like the grassroots football side of things or professional football, whatever it is, let us know.
If you want us to go in more in depth into some of our reviews, if you think that we're going too in depth into our reviews, if you have a segment that you want us to add, if you want us to stop talking about grassroots football, let us know. We're not going to stop talking about grassroots football because that's partly the reason we set up this podcast, but we'll take your comment with a pinch of salt nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. All complaints will be noted.
Duly noted.
With all of that being said, if you want to follow us on any of the socials, we're on X at AnyGamesIE.
We're on all of them.
We've got Facebook, which is anygames.ie. And there's also the website, of course, which is anygames.ie, which is where you can go to drop us any comments. We have chat sections over there. We have our 5-a-side section for anybody looking for 5-a-side games and players. And we've got the club zone again for any clubs, anybody involved with any of the grassroots clubs out there who want to put anything up there. And we will show everything out on this podcast and on our social media platforms. And check out the podcast on Spotify and on YouTube. That's the anygames.ie podcast. Like and follow and drop into the comments on them as well, because it does help out the podcast as well. It helps us get onto the algorithms.
Just before we sign off, we just want to say that we mentioned it last week. Leicester Celtic are having their charity golf tournament. I hope the weather improves because it's currently raining as we're recording this. But that is on the 19th of September. It's in Rathfarnham Golf Club. There are still sponsorships available. You can sponsor a tee-off time, you can sponsor a green, or if you're into golf, you can get involved in a 4-ball. And we've shared that post across all of our socials, so if interested, do head over. If you are a local business in the area or in the Greater Dublin area and you'd like to get involved and help out your local club, please check out our socials. All the details and contact info are over there. And if you are somebody from another club holding an event, or if, as we said before, you have somebody in your club that you would like us to talk to, if you'd like to have their story shared on our platform, please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you all. So do get involved, become part of our community, help us grow, interact with us, let us know your feedback, whether it's good, bad or indifferent. We want to hear from you, and we really want to grow this channel and grow the platform, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yep, so thanks for listening everybody.
Slán